Well, this is the new for 2022 next generation Ford Ranger, and this is the XLT model grade, so it's one step up from the XLS that we've previously tested. If you're interested in that test, I'll leave a link at the end of this video. So this is XLT, and the reason why I've got the engine running is one of the big differences with the XLT over the lower models is this full LED lighting at the front, including headlights, fog lights, and of course these really distinctive, what they call C-clamp daytime running lights. And you can see them, they're really distinctive when you look at the model grades from XLT up and above. It really stands out on the road. So yeah, they're very neat. I like that full LED lighting on the front. XLT, you know, a step up, so it's got different kind of 17-inch alloy wheels, which look really nice. And this one is powered by the new 3-litre V6 turbo diesel, a sensational engine which we'll get to a bit later on when we go for a drive. Nice big side steps. And climb aboard. And another reason I just let the engine running is to show you this fantastic instrumentation. There's a really good driver's information display here in front, which has a raft of information and many pages of data for operating this vehicle, and also the nice big 10-inch central screen. It's in a portrait format, and that controls so many things for the infotainment center, control of the climate and what have you. So it's really neat the way it's all encased in that screen. And of course you've got the good old analog knobs down here, which is a nice touch, because sometimes if you don't want to use the touchscreen, you can just grab those. So that's good planning on Ford's behalf. And down on the console here, not sure you can see it with the sun, but there's a setting on this drivetrain, and this one 4A. And that's effectively like permanent all-wheel drive. You put it on 4A or 4 automatic, and that automatically distributes drive between front and rear axles depending on how much traction they have. So you can drive at any speed on any surface and have permanent all-wheel drive when you've got it in that 4A setting. So that's really handy. The other ones are 2-wheel drive high, of course, conventional 4-wheel drive high, and conventional 4-wheel drive low. But that 4A setting is something that's special with this V6 model. So it's a very nice touch if you're driving in conditions where traction is compromised, particularly on like icy or snow covered roads. All right, we can switch her off now, and we'll go and have a look in the back seat. And very spacious back seat, of course, even for someone my height. I'm about 180 centimeters or so, and there's plenty of room in here, even with the driver's seat in my position. Nice cold air vents in the center here for rear seat passengers. Pull down center armrests with cup holders, and if you pull this seat base up, there's two quite sizable storage areas under here on both sides, where you can put a lot of valuables away out of the line of prying eyes. So that's a nice security touch as well. Being the XLT, it also gets this nice big sports bar here on the back, and it also gets a spray-in tub liner. And these spray-in tub liners are great. They're really, really tough, and they seem to work very well. Tailgate, yep, another great design. 1.3 meter ruler marked across the back of it here, and of course these little trapdoors where you can use a G-clamp or a C-clamp to hold materials on here and use it as a workbench. Another nice little touch with the load tub is it's got little lights here, so just hidden in the side of the sidewall here, so it gives you lighting when you're loading or working at night, which is a good touch. Also with the new Ranger, the wider track means that there's enough space now between the rear wheel housings to be able to fit either a standard Aussie pallet or a Euro pallet. So that's a big improvement there too. If you need to carry that kind of load, very easy to open and close the tailgate too. It's assisted by a torsion bar, so it's very, very light. And there's also this little touch here too, these steps, which they've added to make it easier to access the load tub. without having to stand up on the tyre. Its payload is just under a tonne, 995 kilos. That's a tonne in my book, and we've tested it at that load, and it coped with it very, very easily. So it's well on top of its payload capacity, and of course it has the class benchmark brake tow rating of 3,500 kilos, or 3.5 tonnes. So that's the benchmark in this class. Now this example is painted what Ford calls absolute black, and it's a pretty good name for that colour, because it is clearly absolutely black, and it looks pretty good in that colour scheme too. So there you go, that's a look around the XLT, and so let's go and see what this new V6 engine's like. Okay, underway in the next gen Ford Ranger XLT. As I mentioned earlier on, this one's got the optional 3 litre turbo diesel V6. This is a fantastic engine. It's got 184 kilowatts of power, and it's got 600 Newton meters of torque. Now that makes it the new benchmark in this market in terms of torque output, and that's plenty when you're dealing with a 1-ton ute. It's matched with a very slick shifting 10-speed torque converter automatic, which also has the option of sequential manual shifting with this transmission. So yeah, you've got that option, which can be really handy if you're towing something or hauling heavy loads in hilly country. You can really control the driving process. But this engine is just a ripper. Like, it's got a bit of a history, because when Ford owned Land Rover and Range Rover, it did a bit of service in some of those vehicles. It was also used in the Ford Territory in a slightly smaller displacement. I think it was 2.7 litres. And it's even done service in the F-150 in the US, so it's been around the block a few times and certainly proven its worth, and it's fantastic in this application. I mean, it's just a gem of a motor. It's so quiet and it's so refined. It just sets a new benchmark for smoothness, certainly in comparison to any 4-cylinder turbo diesel engine. And in my opinion, it's the best turbo diesel that Ford's put in a Ranger so far. It's just a sensational motor. It's got so much mid-range torque. 600 Newton meters is served full strength between about 1700 RPM and about 2200 RPM. And when you lean into it, it's just pulls like a locomotive. It's just fantastic. So 600 Newton meters is a lot of torque, and it's very much welcome in this application. And you know, beyond that, just the overall driving dynamics of this vehicle are superb for what is a high-riding four-wheel drive vehicle. The fact that this next gen has a longer wheelbase and a wider track means it's got a smoother ride. It's even more planted on the road. The cornering attitude is nice and flat, and it's just overall a very pleasant thing to drive. And of course, its ride quality unladen, without any load in it, is just arguably the best in class. And you know, the steering weight is superb, the braking is really strong and very consistent. And being the XLT, this one has 4-wheel disc brakes, so it's even better in that instance. So overall, you know, it's a very nice vehicle to drive. It's very capable, but this new V6 engine is really something. So the verdict? Well, if you think about the pricing of the XLT, with the V6 option, it's about $64,000 before on-road costs. Now that puts it up in what you might say the prestige end of the dual cab ute market. It's right up, you know, up around Toyota Hilux Rogue X, sort of D-Max X Terrain kind of model grade. So it's right up in the toward the top end of the market. And the thing you have to ask yourself is it worth paying the extra $3,000 to have this new V6 engine? That's obviously something only a potential buyer can decide. But if it was me, I would say a resounding yes. Well, we hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and help us grow the channel. Catch you next time.